This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski.
Featuring defense attorney, Hidden Killers daily contributor, and host of the Defense Diaries podcast, Bob Motta.
Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt facing the music for their charges, both being sentenced, to the same 4 consecutive sentences of 1 to 15 years in prison for their roles in the abuse of the children of Franke. Joining me to discuss, host of the podcast Defense Diaries, defense attorney Bob Motta. Bob, we got that. We knew that obviously they were pleading guilty. They had their heartfelt apologies. I'm putting that in air quotes because, they did seem kind of heartfelt, but who knows with people who are capable of doing this, just how sincere they actually are. What's your thoughts on this? 1 to 15 years, 4 consecutive sentences. It could be 4 years. It could be 60. Walk us through that a little bit and where you think that's going to go.
Yeah, the judge gave a wide berth, and essentially it sounds like they go in front of a parole board out there and they plead their case in terms of, what the sentence will actually end up being. Mm-hmm. It's a stiff sentence, man, and in terms of, everybody's sorry when they get caught.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where was all that sorrow when it was happening?
Mm-hmm.
So like that kind of heartfelt, apology falls on deaf ears when it comes to sentencing a vast majority of the time because, you lacked that humanity at the time that the abuse was occurring. So, you and I both said you wanted him going away for the full slate, man. So, I remember when we were talking about it, and I thought it would land somewhere in the, 15 year to like 20 year range, which is a lot.
Yeah.
That they're it is a life altering, never going back to the way that you lived in any way, shape or form type sentence. Even if they shave it off and they cap it at like 16 years with those things all running consecutive. The question that I don't know the answer to because I don't practice out there is whether or not they have the ability to make those run concurrently, meaning on, that they run at the same time. Because as the judge had it, it was going to be strictly consecutive. So, which means one after another. So heavy penalty, heavy duty abuse,
Yeah.
Like I think the lesson to be learned from that is if you're gonna do that kind of physical and psychological damage to your kids, prepare to do some heavy time for it.
We've heard nothing from Kevin Franke as of now. We know that there's a divorce that's in progress, but not a whole lot at all. Do you think he is accountable at all on any of this as of right now, or was he kind of the victim also of Franke and her mental abuse? He is a dad. He is there. He does have the power to stand up and do something if need be. And it seems in a lot of cases he didn't, or maybe he was just unaware.
Yeah, I don't know enough about his circumstance once she left him. I just don't know if he was going over to, because, once she started staying with Jodi, that changed the dynamic. So I don't know how much he knew, when parents separate from one another, they're typically not going out and hanging out in the new house. You know what I mean? So you really don't know. The issue is, were the kids telling him? Like, we're not talking about toddlers here. We're talking about near adult kids, some of them, what I mean? Where they could easily have said, Dad, this thing that's going on with Mom and Jodi is like insane. Like they're completely abusing us. And, whether or not those conversations took place is where that question really lies. You know what I mean? So, if the kids haven't thrown their father under the bus, but I think you and I talked about that a few months back, that puts the kids in a very difficult position. If they're going to out their mother as being the abusive monster that she was, and they're going to say, you know what, we told Dad's complicit. Dad had a duty to stop it, and he did nothing. You're essentially is the children are getting rid of both of your parents, essentially, knowing that they're both going to be on trial and theoretically that both of your parents are going to be in prison. They may not have been willing to do that in terms of he wasn't actually committing abuse. It was his omissions in terms of his duties as a father that were his failings. And maybe in their mind, it was forgivable if they made him aware of it. You know what I mean? But that's the question we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know how much he knew or how much he didn't know. So like, I am sure that the state has looked into it and, they've evaluated whether or not they think they have a case against him. And I think at least to this point, I mean, it doesn't sound like they're moving on him. So, and I haven't heard any grumblings about it or rumblings either. So I don't know.
Sick of the ads?
We are too.
Start listening with no commercials now and get access to all of our episodes in advance of everyone else.
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
True Crime Today Premium Plus.
Sign up now.